The dimensional tear screamed. Not with sound. Sound required air, physics, rules that made sense. This was the scream of reality itself being ripped open like wet paper, the kind of violation that made quantum physicists wake up sweating without knowing why. Garou felt his body compressed to the width of a photon, then expanded across infinite space, every atom in his being touching every point in the multiverse simultaneously before. Slam. Concrete. Real, solid, blessedly three-dimensional concrete that shattered under his boots like porcelain. He was kneeling in a crater of his own making, smoke rising from his shoulders, the red and black markings of his evolved state still crawling across his skin like living tattoos. The cosmic power that had let him trade blows with Saitama was fading, regressing, but even diminished. He was still leagues beyond anything this world had seen. Garou looked up. Times Square. He recognized it instantly from the garish assault of light and commerce. Billboards stacked 50 stories high, each one screaming advertisements for products nobody needed. But something was wrong with the messaging. Every third screen showed the same 7 faces. A blonde man with an American flag cape, a woman in armor holding a sword, a sleek figure crackling with electricity. Others he couldn't quite make out through the smoke still clearing from his arrival. The text blazed in red, white, and blue. The 7, saving America, one smile at a time. Heroes. His blood went cold, then immediately white-hot. "Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me," Garou muttered, rising to his feet. The crater around him was 12 feet deep, spider-webbing cracks spreading across the intersection like a shattered windshield. Car alarms wailed. People screamed, not running away yet, just that initial shock scream of witnessing something impossible. Phones were already out, 100 cameras capturing his emergence, streaming it live to a world that consumed tragedy like popcorn. Then he felt it. The displacement of air, the telltale whoosh of something approaching fast. Garou's instincts, honed through 10,000 battles, refined through his evolution into something that bordered on precognition, screamed danger a full second before the attack arrived. He sidestepped. A blur of red, white, and blue sailed past him, sonic boom shattering every window within 100-yard radius. The figure, the blonde man from the billboards, pulled up short, hovering 30 feet above the intersection with arms crossed, cape billowing despite the lack of wind. Up close, Garou could see the details. The costume was too clean, too perfectly pressed. The smile was too practiced, too symmetrical. The eyes, even from here, had that telltale emptiness of someone who'd been playing a role for so long they'd forgotten there was supposed to be a person underneath. "Well, well, well," the floating man said, voice booming across the intersection with theatrical authority. "Looks like we've got ourselves an unregistered super causing a public disturbance. I'm Homelander, leader of the 7, America's premier superhero team, and I'm going to have to ask you to power down and come quietly." Garou stared at him. Then he started laughing. Not the manic cackle of a lunatic, but the genuine, bewildered laugh of someone who'd just discovered the universe had a sense of humor after all. "You're serious," Garou said, wiping his eye. "You actually just said that with a straight face. America's premier superhero team. Jesus Christ, I died and woke up in a corporate jingle." Homelander's smile tightened microscopically, a tell that anyone who'd spent their life reading combat intent would catch immediately. This wasn't a hero. This was a predator in a costume, playing pretend for the cameras that were now broadcasting everything to millions of screens across the country. Garou could see them. News helicopters already circling like vultures. Long-range lenses capturing every angle. The studio anchors probably wetting themselves with excitement over the rating spike. "I don't think you understand the situation you're in, pal," Homelander continued, descending slowly, boots touching pavement with deliberate theatricality. "You just caused about $4 million in property damage and scared a lot of good people. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to lay face down on the ground, hands behind your head, and wait for the nice folks from Vought security to take you into custody. Then we'll sort out exactly what kind of super you are and get you registered with the FBSA like everyone else." Garou tilted his head, studying this Homelander the way a biologist might study a particularly interesting parasite. The stance was all wrong. Too much weight forward, relying on flight to compensate for poor ground mechanics. The posture screamed ego, chest puffed, shoulders back, that practiced smile never quite reaching the eyes. And those eyes. Garou had seen that look before, on bullies who'd cornered him in alleyways, on heroes who'd lectured him about justice while standing on mountains of their own victims' corpses. This wasn't a hero. This was exactly what Garou had spent his entire existence fighting against. "Let me tell you what I see," Garou said, voice dropping to something cold and clinical. "I see a man in a costume, playing dress-up for profit. I see cameras everywhere because you called them before you even showed up. This isn't a rescue operation. It's a photo shoot. I see that smile, that stance, that whole America's premier bullshit, and you know what it tells me?" He took one step forward. "You're not a hero. You're a brand, and brands die just like everything else." Homelander's smile finally cracked. "You little..." Garou moved. Not at full cosmic speed. He was still recovering from the dimensional transit, his power settling back into this new baseline, but fast enough that Homelander's eyes went wide with genuine surprise. Fast enough that the cameras caught only a blur. Fast enough to close the 30-foot gap in the space between heartbeats and drive his fist into Homelander's perfectly sculpted jaw with the force of a meteorite. The impact crater Garou had made on arrival. That was a practice sketch. This was the masterpiece. Homelander rocketed backward, body tumbling through the air like a rag doll, crashing through 3 billboards before finally arresting his momentum by grabbing onto a steel support beam. The metal shrieked, bending under his grip, but he held on. Blood, actual, genuine blood, trickled from the corner of his mouth. The cameras caught it all in perfect 4K clarity. America watched their invincible god bleed for the first time in history. Garou didn't press the advantage. He stood in the center of the intersection, surrounded by screaming civilians finally smart enough to run, and waited. Not because he needed to, not because he was showing mercy, but because he wanted Homelander to understand something fundamental. This wasn't a fight. This was a hunt, and Homelander had just been reclassified from hunter to prey. "You see?" Garou called out, gesturing to the cameras still rolling, the live feed still broadcasting. "That's the difference between us. You needed an audience to feel powerful. I just needed you to bleed." Homelander wiped his mouth, staring at the crimson smear on his glove like it was a foreign language he couldn't quite translate. Then his face twisted, the mask of heroic charm melting away to reveal something raw and furious underneath. His eyes began to glow red. Oh, good. Garou grinned, settling into a combat stance that had been refined through evolution itself. Let's see what this world's heroes are really made of. The hunt had begun. If you're hungry for crossovers that respect both worlds while delivering pure cinematic devastation, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment with your dream matchup. Saitama in Vought Tower. Doomslayer vs. the Seven. We're building stories that don't pull punches, and you're going to want a front row seat for what comes next. Homelander's heat vision lanced across the intersection like twin pillars of crimson annihilation, melting asphalt, vaporizing abandoned cars, turning the entire city block into a kiln. The temperature spiked 200 degrees in under a second. Fire alarms triggered in every building within 3 blocks. And Garou dodged. Not with panicked scrambling or desperate luck, but with the fluid certainty of someone who'd evolved beyond the concept of being hit. His body moved through the superheated air like water flowing around stones, each motion economical, precise, reading the trajectory of Homelander's attack before the neurons finished firing in his brain. This was what evolution meant, not just getting stronger, but developing the instinct to perceive violence before it manifested. The heat. Vision carved smoking trenches into Times Square's iconic pavement, but Garou was already inside Homelander's guard, having covered 40 feet while the beams were still firing. His palm struck Homelander's solar plexus, a targeted blow designed not for raw damage, but to disrupt breathing, timing, composure. Homelander's heat vision cut out mid-burst as his diaphragm spasmed. "Rule 1, Garou said, voice barely above a whisper as he flowed into his next strike. Heroes who rely on overwhelming power never learn technique. You're sloppy. His elbow found Homelander's temple, a glancing blow, but enough to rattle that too-perfect brain inside its indestructible skull. Homelander swung wild, telegraphing a haymaker that might have atomized a building but was laughably easy to read. Garou ducked under it, feeling the wind displacement ruffle his white hair, and drove his knee into Homelander's floating ribs. This time, something cracked. Not bone. Whatever this Homelander was made of was tougher than standard human anatomy. But something cracked. The sound was subtle, almost musical, like stressed metal finally giving up its structural integrity. Homelander gasped, an involuntary, undignified sound completely at odds with the carefully maintained image of invulnerability. They separated. Homelander floated backward, breathing hard now, one hand unconsciously moving to his ribs. His costume had scorch marks from his own heat vision backscatter. His perfectly styled hair was disheveled, and his eyes, those cold, calculating eyes, now held something new. Fear. The Vought control room erupted into barely controlled chaos. 47 monitors displayed the Times Square incident from every conceivable angle. News helicopters, traffic cameras, civilian phones held with shaking hands, even a dashboard cam from an abandoned Uber that had captured Homelander getting his ribs cracked in perfect profile. The audio feeds were a symphony of screaming, car alarms, and the distinctly wrong sound of America's invincible hero breathing like he'd just run a marathon. Ashley Barrett stood at the center of it all, tablet clutched so hard her knuckles had gone bloodless white, and watched her entire career catch fire in real time. "Get me optics, get me narrative, get me something I can fucking spin," she barked at the PR team scrambling around her like ants whose hill had just been kicked. "Who is this guy? Where did he come from? Why does he look like a Final Fantasy villain had a baby with a natural disaster? Unknown meta, ma'am, one analyst called out, fingers flying across his keyboard. No FBSA registration, no criminal record, no social media footprint, no biometric match in any global database. It's like he didn't exist 10 minutes ago. That's impossible. Everyone exists somewhere. Ashley's eyes darted between screens, watching Garou move, really move, and feeling her stomach drop further with each replay. The way he dodged Homelander's heat vision wasn't luck or speed. It was prediction, like he could see the attack coming before Homelander even committed to it. What about facial recognition? Run in now, but... The analyst paused, squinting at his screen. Ma'am, the system keeps returning error codes. It's reading his facial structure as biomechanically impossible. The bone density ratios don't match anything in human parameters. On the main screen, Homelander wiped blood from his mouth again, the second time in recorded history he'd bled, and both instances had happened in the last 90 seconds. The cameras loved it. 13 million viewers and climbing. CNN had already broken into regular programming. The breaking news chyron at the bottom of every feed read, "Unknown super attacks, the 7. Homelander injured." Injured, Ashley repeated, tasting the word like poison. Not engaged, not responding to threat. Injured. Do you understand what that word does to our stock price? To our narrative? Homelander doesn't get injured. He's functionally invincible. That's literally our entire marketing strategy for the past 7 years. She pulled up Vought's stock ticker on her tablet. The line was already trending downward, investors reacting in real time to watching their golden boy bleed on television. $43 a share and dropping. By market close. This was going to be a bloodbath that made Black Monday look like a minor correction. Get the rest of the 7 mobilized now, Ashley snapped. I want A-Train, Maeve, Black Noir, Starlight, anyone who can stand in frame and look heroic. We need overwhelming force on camera immediately. The narrative has to be coordinated team response, not Homelander getting his ass kicked solo. A-Train's location is questionable right now, ma'am. And Maeve is... I don't care if A-Train is balls deep in a bag of cocaine and Maeve is 3 martinis past caring. Get them to Times Square in the next 4 minutes or they're both terminated. She turned to another aide. Where's Noir? Already en route. ETA 90 seconds. Good. Someone on this team understands professionalism. Ashley pulled up the live feeds again, zooming in on Garou's face. Even through the chaos, even with Homelander's heat vision scorching the air around him, the unknown meta looked bored. Not confident, not battle-manic. Bored. Like this was beneath him. What about audio? Are we picking up what they're saying? The audio technician adjusted his levels, filtering out the ambient noise, screaming, sirens, the crackle of fires igniting, until the voices became clear. Sloppy, Garou was saying, his tone clinical, almost educational. Heroes who rely on overwhelming power never learn technique. Then came the sound of impact. The crack. Homelander's undignified gasp. Ashley watched Homelander float backward, one hand on his ribs, breathing hard. She'd seen him take a missile to the chest during the Syrian incident and laugh it off. She'd watched him fly through a cargo plane without slowing down. But this nameless meta had just made him flinch, made him hesitate, made him afraid. She could see it in his micro-expressions, the way his eyes widened fractionally. the way his trademark smirk had evaporated entirely. Homelander was scared, and every camera in Times Square was broadcasting that fear to a nation raised on his invincibility. "Ma'am, we're getting reports of civilians injured by debris," another analyst reported. "EMTs are trying to reach the impact zone, but how many casualties? Unknown. Initial reports say minimal. Most of the crowd evacuated when the fighting started. But there's something weird in the footage." The analyst pulled up a clip, rewinding to the moment right after Homelander's heat vision attack. The beams had carved through 3 cars, melting steel and igniting fuel tanks. The explosion should have sent shrapnel into the fleeing crowd, should have killed dozens. But in the footage, Garou had moved. Not to attack Homelander, not to dodge. He'd deflected a piece of debris, a chunk of engine block traveling at bullet velocity, away from a cameraman who'd been too frozen with shock to run. The motion had taken maybe 1/10 of a second, barely visible in real time, but the cameraman was alive, and the engine block was embedded in a wall 20 feet away. "He protected a civilian," the analyst said slowly, rewinding and playing it again. Mid-combat, without breaking rhythm, it wasn't even a conscious decision. He just did it. Ashley stared at the footage. This was wrong. This was all wrong. Terrorists didn't protect civilians. Villains didn't care about collateral damage. But this Meta, this Garous, had categorically avoided harming anyone except Homelander. Every strike had been precise, targeted, meant for the Seven's leader and no one else. "Get me Madeline Stillwell," Ashley said quietly. "Right now." "Ma'am, Stillwell's been gone for..." "Then get me Stan Edgar. Get me whoever makes the decisions that keep us from being completely fucked, because that..." She pointed at the screen where Garou was settling back into a combat stance, where Homelander's eyes were beginning to glow red again, where 13 million viewers were watching America's manufactured god prepare for round 2. "That is not a terrorist attack. That's a targeted hunt, and we're the prey." On screen, Garou spoke again, his voice carrying across the intersection with unnatural clarity. "You see? That's the difference between us. You needed an audience to feel powerful. I just needed you to bleed." Ashley watched Homelander's face twist, the mask of heroic charm melting away to reveal the petulant, furious godchild underneath. This was going to get worse. Much worse. And every second would be captured in perfect 4K clarity, streamed to a world that was about to watch their heroes revealed as exactly what Garou had called them. Brands. Expensive, fragile, breakable brands. Her tablet buzzed. The stock ticker updated. $41 a share. "Get me Edgar," Ashley repeated. "And someone tell Homelander to stop fucking smiling for the cameras." Nobody believes it anymore. The safe house in Brooklyn smelled like stale bear, gun oil, and the particular funk that accumulated when 5 people with varying degrees of hygiene shared 800 square feet. Butcher sat at the kitchen table, a piece of shit from IKEA held together with duct tape and spite, watching the Times Square footage on a laptop held together with even more duct tape and spite. His tea had gone cold 20 minutes ago. He hadn't noticed. "Rewind it again," he said. Huey, perched on the arm of the couch like a nervous bird, clicked the trackpad. The footage jumped back 15 seconds. They'd been watching the same clip for the past hour, frame by frame, trying to understand what the fuck they were actually seeing. "Garou?" That's what the media was calling him now. Pulled from audio enhancement of Homelander shouting the name during the fight. Moved across the screen with a fluidity that made professional fighters look like they were moving through molasses. A-Train had arrived 3 minutes into the confrontation, breaking the sound barrier to flank from the east. The speedster had thrown a punch clocked at Mach 2 by some nerd with too much time and a physics degree. Garou had caught his fist mid-strike, not blocked, not deflected, caught. Like someone catching a baseball. Then he'd redirected A-Train's momentum into Homelander, sending both of them tumbling through a Starbucks in a tangle of limbs and shattered glass and very expensive dental work. That shouldn't be possible, said from his position by the window, binoculars trained on the street below out of pure habit. A train moves faster than bullets, faster than sound. You can't just catch that. And yet, Butcher gestured at the screen, where the impossible had been captured from 7 different angles and was currently trending #1 worldwide on YouTube with 43 million views. There it fucking is. Frenchie leaned over Huey's shoulder, studying the frame-by-frame breakdown. Look at his eyes. There, just before A-Train commits to the punch. He is already moving to intercept. He does not react. He predicts. Nobody predicts A-Train, Kimiko signed from the corner, her phone translating to the text-to-speech app. Too fast. This guy does. Butcher took a swig of his cold tea, grimaced, set it down. His mind was working through the implications like a calculator made of scar tissue and vendetta. Question is, what the fuck is he? Enhanced for sure, offered. But not Compound V. I've seen every type of V-derived enhancement Vought's cooked up. This isn't that. The way he moves, it's like he's operating on different physics. Huey pulled up another clip, this one from a civilian phone that had caught the moment Queen Maeve arrived. She'd gone in hard, sword drawn, with the kind of precision that came from actual combat training instead of choreographed PR stunts. Her blade had been aimed for Garou's throat, a killing blow, publicly defensible as self-defense against an active super-terrorist. Garou had caught the blade between his palms, not grabbed the flat, not dodged. He'd caught 30 inches of sharpened steel between his hands like it was a toy, held it there for 3 full seconds while Maeve's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, and dawning horror. Then he'd snapped it, just closed his hands, and shattered Vought's $50,000 custom-forged prop like a breadstick. Rewind to the beginning again, Butcher said. The very start. When he first shows up. Huey complied. The footage jumped back to the moment of Garou's arrival, that inexplicable crater in the middle of Times Square, smoke rising, reality itself seeming to shimmer around the impact point like heat distortion. Garou rising from the center, markings on his skin that almost looked organic, moving like living tattoos. Pause there. Butcher stood, moving closer to the screen, studying Garou's face in that first moment of arrival. Look at his expression. He's not confused. He's not disoriented. He's disappointed, Frenchie finished, like he hoped for better. No. Butcher's jaw tightened. He's disgusted. Look at what he's staring at. He pointed to the background of the frame. The billboards, the advertisements, the 7's perfectly airbrushed faces, plastered across every available surface. He clocks the hero worship immediately, and his first instinct is revulsion, said quietly. He takes one look at the 7 and decides their targets. Butcher pulled up the audio file, the enhanced version that some sound engineer had cleaned up and leaked online. Garou's voice came through crystal clear. "You're not a hero, you're a brand, and brands die just like everything else." The room went quiet. Outside, a siren wailed past, NYPD or FDNY, headed toward Manhattan, where the cleanup crews were still trying to dig out from under 3 city blocks worth of superpowered devastation. The official casualty report was sitting at 0 civilian deaths, 47 injuries, mostly minor. Cuts from flying glass, smoke inhalation, a few broken bones from people trampling each other in the evacuation. 0 deaths. In a super fight that had leveled 3 square blocks and hospitalized 2 members of the 7. "He's hunting them," Butcher said, the realization settling into his bones like ice water. "Not attacking, hunting. There's a difference." "What difference?" Huey asked. "Attackers are chaotic. They hit whatever's in front of them. Hunters are selective." Butcher gestured at the screen. Every person he engaged was a member of the 7. Every civilian in the blast radius got actively protected. Look here, and here, and here. He pulled up 3 separate clips showing moments where Garou had deflected debris, redirected attacks, even physically moved bystanders out of danger zones without breaking combat rhythm. He's not trying to cause chaos, he's trying to kill specific targets. "The 7, said. "The heroes," Butcher corrected, "or what this world calls heroes." He took one look at Homelander and saw exactly what we see. A cunt in a cape. Kimiko's phone spoke. "So he's on our side." "I didn't say that." Butcher rewound to the moment where Garou had driven his fist into Homelander's jaw. That first beautiful impact that had sent America's golden boy tumbling through 3 billboards. "I said he's hunting the same prey. Doesn't make him an ally. Makes him a weapon pointed in a useful direction." "A weapon we could potentially aim," Frenchie said carefully. "Or a weapon that kills us for getting too close," countered. "We don't know his limits, don't know his motivations, don't know if he can be reasoned with or if he's just a mindless killer who happens to hate capes." Butcher pulled up the final clip, the one that every news network was playing on loop, the one that had already spawned 10,000 memes and think pieces and conspiracy theories. Garou standing in the ruins of Times Square, surrounded by 3 defeated members of the 7, blood on his knuckles, not a scratch on him. The cameras had caught his expression perfectly. Not triumph, not satisfaction. Just that same clinical disappointment, like a teacher watching students fail an exam he'd already told them the answers to. Then he'd spoken, his words picked up by a hot mic on a news helicopter. "This is what you worship? These fragile things? You built a religion around people who break when you punch them hard enough." And he'd looked directly at the camera. Not at Homelander or Maeve or A-Train, at the camera, at the audience, at America itself. "You deserve better gods than this." Then he'd walked away, not fled, not escaped, walked through the police cordon, through the SWAT teams, through the rubble and fire and chaos, and nobody, not the corps, not the military, not the terrified civilians, had tried to stop him. They'd just watched him go, this blood-covered stranger who'd done in 10 minutes what Butcher had been trying to accomplish for years. He'd made the 7 look mortal. "We need to find him," Butcher said, "before Vought does." "And then what?" Huey asked. "Assuming we can even get near him without getting our heads torn off. What's the play?" Butcher stared at the frozen frame. Garou's back as he walked away from the carnage, the setting sun backlighting him through the smoke and dust. Then we point him at Vought Tower and get the fuck out of the blast radius. Shook his head. That's not a plan. That's suicide with extra steps. Maybe. Butcher closed the laptop. But I've been trying to kill Homelander for 5 years with compounds and blackmail and schemes that get people I care about killed. This guy did more damage in 10 minutes than I've managed in half a decade. He looked at each of them in turn. So we find him. We figure out what makes him tick. And if we can convince him that Vaught's the real enemy, not just the soups in costumes, then we weaponize him. Frenchie finished. Then we let him do what he's clearly built for. Butcher grabbed his coat. Huey, pull every piece of footage you can find. I want to know everywhere he's been spotted since the fight. Call your police contacts. Someone saw where he went. Frenchie, get your surveillance gear ready. Kimiko, he looked at her. If we find him and things go sideways, you're our best chance at surviving long enough to run. Kimiko signed something. The phone translated, "What if he won't help us?" Butcher smiled, but there was nothing warm in it. Then we've got front row seats to watching Vought burn anyway. Win-win. Vought Tower stood like a glass and steel monument to corporate supremacy. 99 floors of carefully branded heroism rising above Manhattan's skyline. Every surface gleamed, every angle had been focus grouped. Even the lobby's ambient lighting had been calibrated to make visitors feel simultaneously insignificant and grateful for the privilege of breathing Vought-filtered air. Garou walked through the front entrance at 9:47 p.m. like he owned the building. Security noticed him immediately. Hard not to notice someone covered in dried blood and wearing what looked like the tattered remains of clothing that had survived a dimensional breach. The lead guard, a former NYPD officer named Martinez, who'd taken the Vought job for the dental plan and retirement benefits, reached for his radio. "Control, we have an unauthorized..." Garou looked at him. Just looked. No threat, no posturing, just eye contact that carried the weight of someone who'd fought gods and found them wanting. Martinez's hand stopped halfway to his radio. His training screamed at him to call it in, to trigger the lockdown, to do something. But a deeper instinct, the primal lizard brain that had kept his ancestors alive on the savannah, told him that moving would be the last voluntary action his body ever made. "The gala," Garou said, voice conversational. "What floor?" Martinez's mouth moved before his conscious mind approved the words. 77th. "But you can't..." "I wasn't asking permission." Garou walked past him toward the elevators. The other 3 security guards stood frozen, hands hovering near weapons they suddenly understood would be cosmically insufficient. One of them, Jenkins, 2 years on the job, husband, new father, had his finger on the panic button. He didn't press it, couldn't explain why, wouldn't be able to articulate it in the therapy sessions Vought would mandate after tonight. But some fundamental survival instinct told him that pressing that button would paint a target on everyone in the lobby. The elevator doors opened. Garou stepped inside. The doors closed. Martinez grabbed his radio with shaking hands. "Control, we have a situation. The guy from Times Square just entered the building. He's heading up." The radio crackled. Ashley Barrett's voice, tight with barely controlled panic. "Which guy from Times Square? We need you to be specific. The one who put Homelander in medical. He's in elevator 7, ascending. 3 seconds of silence. Then, lock down the building. Full protocol. Get every available soup to the 77th floor right now. Ma'am, he just walked past 4 armed guards like we weren't even... I don't care if he walked past Jesus Christ himself. Lock down the building. Martinez hit the lockdown switch. Steel shutters slammed down over windows. Magnetic locks engaged on every door. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing the lobby in red. And somewhere, 77 floors up, a gala full of celebrities. Executives and carefully managed superhuman assets continued their champagne-soaked networking, completely unaware that an apex predator had just entered their territory. The elevator climbed. Garou stood in the brushed steel box, watching the floor numbers tick upward, and felt the familiar anticipation building in his chest. Not excitement. He was long past getting excited about fights, not bloodlust. That implied a lack of control he'd transcended during his evolution. This was something purer, the satisfaction of a hunter who'd picked up a strong scent. This building reeked of false heroism. He could feel it in the air itself. The way Vought's carefully constructed mythology had seeped into every surface. The elevator walls displayed a rotating slideshow of the Seven's greatest achievements. Saving cats from trees, stopping terrorists who looked suspiciously like refugees, standing heroically in front of American flags while looking inspirational. Every image had been photoshopped to perfection. Every smile was worth 6 figures in merchandise sales. The elevator slowed. 77th floor. The doors opened onto chaos. Someone had warned them. The gala attendees, men in $1,000 suits, women in designer gowns, heroes in their costume variations deemed formal by Vought's style department, were streaming toward emergency exits in a poorly organized stampede. But standing between Garou and the fleeing crowd were 5 figures in various states of combat readiness. The Deep, looking significantly less confident than his PR shots suggested, water manipulation powers absolutely useless 77 floors above the nearest significant water source. Starlight, hands already glowing with that electrical charge, Vought's tech department had branded Holy Light for the Christian demographic. Black Noir, silent and still in a way that actually suggested professional training. And 2 heroes Garou didn't recognize. A woman wreathed in flame, a man whose skin had taken on a metallic sheen. No Homelander, no Maeve, no A-Train. Garou smiled. They sent the B-team. I'm almost insulted. Leave now and we won't have to hurt you, Starlight said, voice steady despite the fear Garou could read in her posture. She meant it, he realized. She actually believed she was one of the good ones, believed in the costume and the brand and the mythology. Almost felt bad about what came next. Almost. You're in my way, Garou said simply. The Deep attacked first. Desperation or stupidity. Hard to tell which. He thrust his hands forward and the decorative water features throughout the gala hall exploded. Gallons of water streaming toward Garou in a coordinated assault that might have looked impressive on camera. Garou sidestepped the main stream, caught a secondary tendril with his hand, and used the momentum to slingshot himself directly at the Deep. His fist connected with the Deep's solar plexus. No killing blow. He was hunting heroes, not aquatic-themed mascots. But enough force to fold the man in half, send him skidding backward across polished marble, and remove him from the fight for the duration. Starlight's energy blast came next. Twin beams of concentrated electrical discharge that would have dropped a bull elephant. Garou deflected them with his forearm, his evolved biology treating the electricity like a mild static shock, and closed the distance. Not to strike her, to move past her. She wasn't the target. None of them were the targets, but they insisted on standing in his way. Black Noir moved with actual skill, throwing a knife that would have caught Garou's throat if he hadn't tilted his head precisely 43 degrees. The blade whistled past, embedding itself in a support column. Noir followed up with a flying knee, proper form, real training, the kind of move that came from someone who'd actually killed people instead of just posing for camera crews. Garou caught the knee, registered the impact force, calculated Noir's approximate strength level, and made a decision. He redirected the kinetic energy back through Noir's leg, not enough to shatter the limb, but enough to send him spinning off balance. Then Garou was past him, moving through the space where the fire woman was launching a gout of flame, ducking under the metallic hero's wild haymaker. He wasn't here for them. Through the scattering crowd, past the overturned champagne tables and abandoned hors d'oeuvres, Garou saw his real targets. A cluster of executives in the VIP section, surrounded by personal security that suddenly looked woefully inadequate. He recognized one face from the briefings Vought's PR had done. Stan Edgar, CEO, the man who turned superpowers into quarterly earnings reports. And standing next to Edgar, champagne glass still in hand, was a hero Garou recognized from the Times Square footage. Tech Knight, they called him, some kind of tech-based hero who'd been too far away to join the initial fight. His armor looked expensive, probably ineffective, but expensive. Garou started walking toward them. Not running, not charging, walking. Because the hunt was patient work, and prey that saw you sprint always scattered inefficiently. "Mr. Edgar," Garou called out over the screaming and the sounds of Starlight and Noir regrouping behind him. "We need to talk about your product quality. Your heroes break too easily." Edgar, to his credit, didn't run. He set down his own champagne glass with the deliberate calm of a man who'd made worse decisions than this and profited from them. "Building security is on its way. You're trapped." "No," Garou corrected, still walking. 20 feet away now. Tech Knight was powering up his armor, servos whining, targeting systems locking on. "You're trapped in a building full of the frauds you created, and I'm going to show everyone watching." He gestured to the security cameras, still recording everything. Exactly what your heroes are worth when someone fights back. Tech Knight's armor launched a volley of micro-missiles, 12 of them, each one capable of punching through reinforced concrete. They streaked across the gala hall, trailing fire, locked onto Garou's thermal signature, moving at speeds that would have overwhelmed any conventional defense. Garou caught 3, deflected 4, dodged 5. The deflected missiles struck decorative pillars, detonating in flowers of fire and shrapnel that sent executives diving for cover. The whole 77th floor shook. Fire suppression systems activated, drenching everything in chemical foam. And through the smoke and chaos and screaming, Garou kept walking. Tech Knight's armor systems recalculated. Targeting lasers painted red dots across Garou's chest. Confirmed hostile, lethal force authorized, engaging. "Finally," Garou said, "someone who speaks honestly. Homelander sat in Vought's medical bay, staring at his reflection in the polished chrome of the examination table, and tried to remember the last time he'd felt pain. Real pain. Not the phantom ache of loneliness or the dull throb of being told no by marketing executives. Physical pain. The kind that reminded you that your body was meat wrapped around bone, capable of breaking if something hit it hard enough. His ribs hurt, 3 of them. Hairline fractures, according to the imaging. Dr. Vogelbaum, retired now but called in for emergencies involving the 7, had explained it in that clinical tone that made everything sound simultaneously catastrophic and routine. The bones would heal. Homelander's enhanced biology would knit them back together in days instead of weeks. But right now, every breath felt like someone was pressing a hot knife into his side. "You need to rest," Vogelbaum said, reviewing the scans on his tablet. "No flying for at least 48 hours. No combat engagements. Your body needs time to get out." Vogelbaum looked up, adjusted his glasses, recognized the tone. "Homelander, I understand you're frustrated, but medically speaking, I said get the fuck out." Homelander didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. The air pressure in the room shifted slightly, that telltale sign that his powers were responding to his emotional state. Vogelbaum had seen enough Homelander tantrums to recognize the warning signs. He left. Homelander sat alone in the medical bay, listening to the distant sounds of alarms blaring through Vought Tower. Security locked down, code red, all available personnel to 77. The chatter on his comms. He'd left the earpiece in, couldn't help himself. Painted a picture of chaos. The monster from Times Square had walked into their building, into their headquarters, into a gala full of Vought's most important clients and stockholders and politicians. And Homelander was sitting in medical with broken ribs. The door opened. Not Vogelbaum. Ashley, tablet in hand, makeup slightly smudged from stress sweating. "You need to get to 77 right now. Doctor says no flying." "I don't care if the doctor says you're made of glass and wishes. We have a PR apocalypse happening 70 floors up, and you're the only one who's even slowed this guy down." She pulled up footage on her tablet. Live feed from the gala security cameras. Garou was methodically dismantling Tech Knight's armor, pulling it apart piece by piece like someone shelling a lobster. "He's asking for you, by name." That got Homelander's attention. "What?" Ashley played the audio. Garou's voice, distorted slightly by the concrete and steel between floors, but still clear. "Tell Homelander I'm waiting. Tell him to come back when he's done crying." The hot knife in Homelander's ribs became irrelevant. The pain didn't disappear. His body wasn't that cooperative, but it got shoved into a compartment in his brain labeled "deal with later," while more primitive circuits took over. Pride. Ego. The fundamental inability to tolerate being mocked by someone who'd made him bleed in front of 13 million people. "He said I was crying." "He's baiting you," Ashley said quickly, recognizing the shift in Homelander's body language. "He wants you angry and sloppy. That's what he did in Times Square, got you emotional and exploited it. We need strategy here, not." Homelander stood. The movement sent a spike of pain through his ribs that he refused to acknowledge. Strategy. Right. Here's my strategy, Ashley. I'm going to fly up to 77 and put my fist through his fucking skull until the consistency resembles chunky salsa. How's that for strategy? That's not. Get Maven Noir ready for support. Coordinate with Maeve's ribs are worse than yours. Noir's shoulder is dislocated. A-Train has a concussion, and the Deep is currently vomiting in a janitor's closet from the gut punch he took. Ashley's voice cracked slightly, professional veneer giving way to genuine panic. You're it, Homelander. You're all we have that can even theoretically stand up to this guy, and you're injured. Then I fight injured. And if you lose again, in our building, on our cameras, what happens to the stock price when America watches their hero get beaten twice in one day? Homelander grabbed her by the throat. Not hard enough to damage, just enough to lift her slightly off her feet, just enough to remind her that he could evaporate her where she stood if he wanted. I don't lose. He set her down. She gasped, clutching her throat, tablet clattering to the floor. Homelander walked past her, out of medical, toward the emergency stairs. Flying was out, couldn't risk aggravating the ribs mid-combat, but he could still move fast. Still hit hard. Still kill this arrogant piece of shit who dared to make him look weak. The stairwell echoed with his footsteps as he climbed. Each floor brought him closer to the sounds of combat. Impacts, explosions, Tech Knight's armor systems screeching as they failed. By floor 70, he could smell the smoke and chemical foam and something else. Blood. Not human blood. Something with a different copper tang to it. Soup blood. Floor 75. His comms crackled. Homelander, this is Control. Tech Knight is down. Repeat, Tech Knight is down. Hostile is advancing on Executive VIP section. Stan Edgar is requesting immediate... Homelander ripped the earpiece out. Didn't want commentary. Didn't want tactical updates. Just wanted to reach 77 and remind this Garou what happened when you embarrassed America's greatest hero on international television. Floor 76. He could hear Garou's voice now. Conversational, almost bored. Your armor's impressive. Probably cost more than most people make in a lifetime, but it's still just expensive metal wrapped around a fragile human. Want to know the difference between armor and evolution? Tech Knights. Scream. Then silence. Floor 77. The stairwell door was already open, torn off its hinges. Homelander stepped through into what looked like a war zone. The gala hall was destroyed, pillars cracked, floor cratered, fire suppression foam coating everything in white chemical slush. Bodies everywhere, not dead. Homelander could hear heartbeats, labored breathing, but down, injured, defeated. And in the center of it all, standing over Stan Edgar, who'd been backed against the floor-to-ceiling windows, was Garou. He looked different than in Times Square. Not physically, same white hair, same predatory grace, but there was something in his posture now, a satisfaction, like he'd confirmed a hypothesis and found the results exactly as disappointing as expected. You came, Garou said without turning around. Good. I was worried you'd stay in medical and miss the lesson. Lesson's over, Homelander snarled. His eyes began to glow red. Now you learn what happens when you fuck with the Seven. Garou finally turned to face him and smiled. Not a mocking smile, not cruel or sadistic, just disappointed. Your ribs are still broken. You're favoring your left side. Your breathing is shallow to minimize pain, and you still flew here thinking rage would compensate for injury. He took one step forward. That's why you'll always be a fraud. Real heroes don't need rage. They need discipline. Homelander's heat vision lanced out, both beams at full power, enough concentrated energy to slag steel. Garou moved. Not dodging, redirecting. His hand came up, palm open, and the heat vision bent around him like water around a stone. The beams carved into the ceiling, melting support beams, bringing down chunks of concrete and rebar. Then Garou was inside Homelander's guard again, moving with that same fluid precision, and his fist found the exact spot on Homelander's ribs where the fractures were worst. Homelander's world went white with pain. He swung wildly, telegraphing a haymaker that Garou ducked under, tried to grab him to use his strength advantage in a grapple. But Garou wasn't there anymore. He was behind Homelander now, hand on his cape, using the fabric to control his balance. "You want to know the real difference between us?" Garou's voice was quiet, almost gentle. "I evolved past needing to be loved. You're still a child throwing tantrums because the cameras aren't worshipping hard enough." He yanked the cape. Homelander stumbled backward, straight into a knee strike that caught his kidney. Another bolt of pain, another reminder that his body wasn't invincible, just highly durable. And durability had limits when you fought someone who could read your every movement and exploit every weakness. Homelander spun, eyes blazing, heat vision firing again. This time Garou didn't redirect. He took the hit, let the beams strike his chest, burn through the remains of his shirt, scorch his skin, and smiled wider. "That actually hurt a little," Garou said. The burn marks were already fading, his evolved biology healing in real time. "Try harder." Homelander's smile cracked. Not from pain this time, from something worse. From doubt. The emergency broadcast cut across every channel simultaneously. Every screen in America, televisions, phones, tablets, the massive LED displays in Times Square that were still being repaired from earlier, suddenly showed the same image. Garou, standing in what was recognizably Vought Tower's executive level, surrounded by unconscious heroes and terrified executives in designer suits. He'd hijacked their network. "Good evening," Garou said, his voice carrying that same clinical detachment he'd used when dissecting Homelander's fighting style. Behind him, Stan Edgar was pressed against the window, trying very hard to look like a man who wasn't reconsidering every decision that had led to this moment. "My name is Garou. You don't know me, but I know you." In living rooms across the country, people stopped mid-dinner. In bars, patrons went silent. Even the news anchors who'd been providing breathless commentary went quiet, watching their own screens get overridden by this blood-covered stranger who just systematically destroyed the Seven's mystique in under 12 hours. "I come from a world where heroes are everywhere," Garou continued, "where they save people, fight monsters, protect the weak. And I spent years hunting them, exposing them, proving that beneath the costumes and the posturing, most of them were just bullies with power." He gestured to the unconscious forms of Tech Knight, Starlight, Black Noir scattered across the ruined Gala Hall. "But your world, your heroes aren't even pretending anymore. They're products, brands, corporations with capes, and you worship them anyway." Ashley Barrett, watching from Vaught's Crisis Management Center 3 floors down, felt her career dissolving in real time. Every word Garou spoke was a PR nuclear bomb. Every second of footage was unspinnable. She'd already received 17 panicked calls from board members, 43 from shareholders, and 1 from the Pentagon asking if this constituted a national security crisis. Her tablet showed the social media analytics. Garou was trending worldwide. Vought's stock had dropped 12% in the last 30 minutes. And people were listening, actually listening to this monster's philosophy like it made sense. Because in this world, it did. "You built a religion around false gods," Garou said, his tone almost pitying now. "Homelander, your invincible protector. I made him bleed twice today. Queen Maeve, your warrior princess, her sword shattered in my hands. A-Train, fastest man alive. I caught his punch like he was moving in slow motion." He walked toward the camera, one of Vought's security feeds that he'd somehow accessed and repurposed, until his face filled the frame. These aren't heroes. They're actors with superpowers, reading scripts written by marketing departments. And when someone actually fights back, when someone doesn't play along with the narrative, they break. In Butcher's safe house, the team watched in stunned silence. Frenchie had been trying to trace the broadcast signal, but Garou had routed it through so many Vought servers that it might as well have been coming from inside the building itself. Which it was. "He's doing it," Huey whispered. "He's actually saying everything we've been trying to prove." "On every channel in America," MM added, "with their own equipment, their own cameras." Butcher leaned forward, studying Garou's face on the screen. There was no madness there, no fanaticism, just the calm certainty of someone stating observable facts. He's not trying to convince people, he's just pointing at what's already there. On screen, Garou continued, "I don't expect you to believe me. You've been conditioned to trust the costume, to ignore the corruption underneath. But I'm going to give you something you've never had before. A choice." He stepped aside, revealing Homelander slumped against a cracked pillar, conscious but clearly in pain, trying to maintain his trademark smirk and failing. The image was devastating. America's golden god reduced to a hurt, angry man in a costume that suddenly looked like a child's Halloween outfit. "This is your hero without the script," Garou said, "without the controlled narrative, without Vaught's PR machine telling you what to think. He's strong, yes, powerful, but he's not invincible, not unbeatable, not even particularly special, just the most expensive product in their catalog." Homelander tried to stand, to launch himself at Garou, to do something that would salvage this catastrophe. His heat vision flickered on, eyes glowing red. But before he could fire, Garou moved, fast enough that the camera barely tracked it, and had his hand on Homelander's throat. Not squeezing, just holding. See? This is the fundamental problem with false heroes. They've never had to actually struggle, never had to overcome real adversity. They were given power, handed a costume, and told they were special. Garou's grip tightened slightly. Homelander's heat vision sputtered out. But evolution doesn't care about marketing budgets. It only cares about who adapts, who survives, who earns their strength. He released Homelander, who collapsed back against the pillar and turned to face the camera again. "I'm not here to save you. I'm not here to be your new hero. I'm here to show you that your gods are paper tigers, that the people you've been worshipping are the same ones profiting from your fear." Garou walked over to Stan Edgar, grabbed him by his expensive suit jacket, and lifted him into frame. Edgar's composure finally cracked, fear visible in the micro-expressions he couldn't quite control. This man decides which heroes you see, which crimes they fight, which narratives you believe. He's the wizard behind the curtain, and your heroes are his puppets. Garou looked at Edgar. Tell them what the seven really are." Edgar's jaw tightened. Silence stretched across the broadcast. Every second of dead air was agony for Ashley's team, for Vought's board, for the carefully constructed illusion they'd spent billions building. "Products," Edgar finally said, his voice barely audible. "Assets. Revenue streams." Garou nodded, almost approvingly. At least he's honest about it. He released Edgar, who stumbled backward. "That's all I wanted. Honesty, transparency. The truth you've all been too comfortable to question." He walked back to the camera, his expression softening slightly, not with kindness, but with something almost sad. "I hunted heroes in my world because they were frauds hiding behind good intentions. But here, you don't even have the good intentions. You have corporations, merchandise, quarterly earnings reports." Garou raised his hand, showing his bloodied knuckles to the camera. "This blood belongs to your heroes. It's not special, not divine, just blood, just meat, just people with powers who've been playing dress-up while collecting paychecks." Behind him, Homelander tried once more to stand, to attack, to do something heroic. He made it 3 steps before his ribs gave out, and he collapsed to one knee, gasping in pain. The camera caught it all. "You deserve better than this," Garou said, his final words carrying across 200 million screens. "Better heroes, better honesty, better gods. But you'll never get them as long as you keep buying what they're selling." He reached forward. The camera's perspective shifted as he grabbed it, and then the feed cut to static. For 5 full seconds, every channel in America showed nothing but white noise. Then the networks cut back to their studios, where anchors sat in shocked silence, trying to process what they'd just broadcast. Trying to figure out how to spin this, how to salvage the narrative. In Vought Tower, Ashley Barrett stared at her tablet where the stock price had just dropped another 8%, where Garou was right had hit #1 trending worldwide, where footage of Homelander on his knees was already being turned into 1,000 memes. Her phone rang. The board. She didn't answer. In the medical bay, Dr. Vogelbaum watched the static on his monitor and quietly began updating his resume. In the ruins of the 77th floor, Garou looked down at Homelander, who was still trying to stand despite the pain, despite the broken ribs, despite everything. "You still don't understand," Garou said quietly. "I'm not your enemy. I'm your mirror, and you fucking hate what you see." Then he walked away, leaving Homelander kneeling in the wreckage of his own mythology, surrounded by cameras that had finally stopped lying. The Brooklyn safe house smelled like desperation and opportunity. Butcher paced the length of the cramped living room, phone pressed to his ear, listening to Mother's milk coordinate with contacts across 3 boroughs. Frenchie had every screen in the apartment displaying different angles of the chaos. Social media feeds, news coverage, intercepted Vought communications that were growing increasingly panicked by the hour. Garou had vanished after the broadcast, simply walked out of Vought Tower through the front entrance while security personnel stood frozen, unable or unwilling to stop him. 47 cameras tracked his exit. None showed where he went after turning the corner onto 5th Avenue. "He's a ghost," MM reported, hanging up his phone. "NYPD's got nothing. Vaught's private security lost him 6 blocks from the tower. Even the satellite feeds went dark, like he knew exactly where the blind spots were. Or he's fast enough that satellites can't track him." Huey offered from his position at the laptop, scrolling through frame-by-frame analysis of the tower footage. Look at this. The way he moves isn't just speed. It's like he's reading the environment 3 steps ahead, predicting where cameras will be, where security will look. Butcher stopped pacing. We need him. The room went quiet. Even Kimiko, who'd been methodically sharpening a knife in the corner, paused mid-stroke. We need him, Butcher repeated, the words tasting like admission and ambition mixed together. That broadcast did more damage to Vought in 20 minutes than we've managed in 5 years. The stock's in freefall, public trust is cratering. People are actually questioning the 7. And when they recover, challenged, Vaught's survived worse scandals. They'll spin this, rebrand, trot out some new heroes with better PR training. Meanwhile, where's Garou? What's his endgame? Don't know, don't care. Butcher grabbed his coat. His endgame can be whatever the fuck he wants as long as it ends with Vought burning. We find him, we offer resources. We point him at the real cancer, not just the 7, but the entire system that created them. And if he says no, Frenchie asked, then we've wasted an afternoon. Butcher checked his gun. More habit than necessity, since bullets would be cosmically useless against someone who tanked Homelander's heat vision. But if he says yes, if we can convince him that Vaught's executives are the real frauds propping up the false heroes, then we've got a weapon that can actually win this war. Huey pulled up a map on his laptop, marking the last confirmed sighting. He was heading east from the tower. Could be anywhere in a 50-mile radius by now. Not anywhere, Kimiko signed. Her phone translated. Somewhere he can watch. He wants to see what happens next. She was right, Butcher realized. Garou hadn't destroyed the 7 and then disappeared into hiding. He'd made a statement, and now he was waiting to see if it took root, if people actually listened. A hunter didn't just wound prey. They tracked it, watched it weaken, waited for the perfect moment to finish the kill. High ground, Butcher said suddenly. Somewhere with clear sight lines to Vought Tower. He wants to see their response. Frenchie pulled up building schematics. That eliminates half the city, but still leaves, 200 possible locations with that profile. Then we narrow it. Butcher grabbed the laptop, scrolling through options. Not residential, too many civilians. Not commercial, too much security. Somewhere abandoned, somewhere with history, somewhere that felt like... There. He tapped a building 7 blocks from Vought Tower. Old garment factory, condemned 3 years ago. Demolition permits still tied up in bureaucratic hell. 12 stories. Roof access. Perfect view of Vaught's gleaming monument to corporate heroism. Studied the location. That's a lot of maybes. It's what I'd pick. Butcher was already moving toward the door. Huey, you're with me. Frenchie, Kimiko. Cover the perimeter in case I'm wrong, and he decides we're not worth talking to. And if you're right, Huey asked, grabbing his jacket with hands that trembled slightly. If he's there, what's the pitch? Butcher smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I tell him the truth, that Vought doesn't just make false heroes, they make the system that requires heroes in the first place. Create the crisis, sell the solution, profit from the fear. He thinks the 7 are frauds. They're just symptoms. The disease runs deeper. 20 minutes later, Butcher and Huey stood at the base of the condemned factory. The front entrance was chained shut, but a side door hung loose on rusted hinges. They climbed 12 flights of stairs in silence, Butcher's boots echoing in the empty stairwell, each step bringing them closer to either a breakthrough or a brutally efficient death. The roof access door was open. Garou sat on the edge of the building, legs dangling over the 12-story drop, watching Vought tower in the distance. He didn't turn when they emerged onto the roof, didn't acknowledge their presence at all. Just sat there, still covered in dried blood from the tower fight, completely relaxed despite being in prime ambush position. "Took you longer than I expected," Garou said conversationally. "Thought you'd track me within an hour of the broadcast." Butcher stopped 10 feet back, hands visible, weapon holstered. Huey hovered near the door, ready to run if things went sideways. "You wanted to be found. Wanted to see if you were smart enough to find me." Garou finally looked over his shoulder, studying them with that same clinical detachment he'd used on the Seven. "You're the ones who've been trying to expose Vought. Butcher's crew. I've seen your files. Vought keeps extensive records on people they consider threats. You hacked their servers. Didn't need to. Your friend Edgar left. His tablet unlocked while I was having our conversation." Garou turned back to the skyline. "You've been fighting them for years. Blackmail, compound theft, leaked footage. Small victories that never quite stick." Butcher moved closer, slowly. "And you did more damage in one day than we managed in 5 years. Which brings me here. With a proposition. I don't do team-ups. Not asking you to join the fucking Boy Scouts. Asking you to finish what you started." Butcher gestured toward the Vought tower, where lights blazed in windows as executives worked through the night on the damage control. "You exposed the Seven as frauds. Perfect. Beautiful. But they're not the real problem. They're products. Expensive, dangerous products, but still just inventory." Garou's posture shifted slightly. Listening now. "Vought creates the market for heroes," Butcher continued. "They manufacture crises, suppress alternatives, eliminate competition. They don't just make false heroes. They make sure real ones never exist. Keep everyone desperate, scared, dependent on whatever cape they're selling this quarter. And you want me to what? Dismantle a corporate structure?" Garou's tone carried faint amusement. "I'm not an accountant. I hunt heroes." "You hunt frauds," Butcher corrected. "The executives who profit from heroism while never risking anything themselves. Aren't they the biggest frauds of all? They don't even pretend to fight. Just collect checks while people like Homelander do the dirty work." Silence stretched between them. In the distance, a helicopter circled Vought Tower. News crew or security, hard to tell. The city pulsed with light and noise and the particular energy of a society watching its mythology collapse in real time. "I came to this world by accident," Garou said finally. "Tore through dimensions after fighting the strongest being in my universe. Landed here and found exactly what I'd been preaching about. Heroes who are just franchises with capes. Part of me thought maybe I'd been wrong. Maybe I was the monster. But this world," he laughed, bitter and sharp. "This world proved I was right all along." "So prove it permanently," Butcher said. "Don't just wound the beast. Kill it. Vaught's got contingencies, backup heroes, PR strategies to recover from this. But if someone removed the people at the top, the ones actually running the show, the whole structure collapses." Garou stood, stretching like a cat, completely unconcerned with the 12-story drop behind him. "You're asking me to assassinate corporate executives. That's not hunting heroes. That's just murder. Is it? When those executives have killed more people through neglect and profit motive than Homelander ever managed with his hand. When they've suppressed technologies that could save lives because it had hurt their hero market share. Butcher's voice dropped, intense. You said it yourself in the broadcast. They're the wizards behind the curtain. Everything else is puppetry. Garou studied him for a long moment. You just want revenge. Personal grudge dressed up as philosophy. Yeah, I do. My wife died because of Homelander. Because of Vought. Because of this whole fucking system that treats people like collateral damage in a superhero photo op. Butcher didn't flinch from it. But my revenge and your philosophy? They point at the same target. So what's it going to be? The Vought International Board meeting started at 6 a.m. sharp. Emergency session. All members required. No excuses accepted. Stan Edgar sat at the head of the table in the 98th floor conference room, surveying the 11 faces that represented $43 billion in shareholder value. They looked tired, scared, like people who just watched their golden goose get its neck wrung on live television. Gentlemen, ladies, Edgar began, voice carrying that same unflappable calm he'd maintained even with Garou's hand on his throat. We have a crisis, but more importantly, we have an opportunity. Opportunity? Margaret Chen from the PR division looked like she hadn't slept in 2 days. Probably hadn't. Stan, our stock dropped 19%. We've got senators calling for investigations. The UN is asking questions about superhuman accountability. That broadcast was the best thing that could have happened to us. Edgar interrupted smoothly. The room went silent. Hear me out. Edgar pulled up a presentation on the wall-mounted screen. Graphs, analytics, social media sentiment tracking. Yes, the Seven's brand took damage. Yes, Homelander's mystique is compromised, but look at the engagement numbers. 200 million viewers for that broadcast. Highest ratings for any superhero-related content in history. People aren't turning away. They're leaning in. They're leaning in to watch us burn, someone muttered. They're invested in the narrative, Edgar corrected. And narrative is what we sell. We've been pushing the same product for 20 years. Invincible heroes, perfect victories, safe and sanitized violence. It was getting stale. People were losing interest. But this? He gestured to footage of Garou standing over Homelander. This is raw, dangerous, real. This is what brings audiences back. The CFO, a man named Patterson with 30 years of turning scandals into profit, leaned forward. You want to monetize the man who just destroyed our flagship product. I want to adapt. Edgar switched slides, showing projected revenue streams. We spin Garou as the ultimate threat, the villain who exposed our hero's weakness. Then we rebuild the Seven, harder, stronger, more authentic. We give the public what they're clearly hungry for. Heroes who actually struggle, who bleed, who feel real. By making them actually vulnerable. Chen shook her head. That defeats the entire purpose of... The purpose is profit, Margaret. Always has been. Edgar's tone hardened slightly. Invincible heroes were profitable when people wanted comfort. But the market's shifted. They want edge now. Darkness, moral complexity. Garou gave us that gift wrapped. We'd be idiots not to capitalize. A younger board member, Thompson, new money, tech sector, raised his hand tentatively. What about Garou himself? He's still out there, still a threat to any hero we field. Which brings me to phase 2. Edgar switched to a new slide. Military, contracts, government partnerships, black ops funding. We've been trying to sell heroes to the Pentagon for years with limited success. They want weapons, not celebrities, but a hero specifically designed to hunt and eliminate threats like Garou. That's a weapons contract. That's defense budget allocation. That's profit margins that make our current superhero division look like a lemonade stand. The implications settled over the room like a cold blanket. They weren't talking about recovering from the crisis. They were talking about engineering a bigger one. You want to create an arms race, Patterson said slowly. Garou as the villain, new heroes as the weapons, governments as the customers. I want to sell solutions to problems we define. Edgar smiled. It's what we've always done. We just need to think bigger. On the other side of the city, in a condemned factory that smelled like rust and forgotten industry, Garou listened to Butcher's pitch and felt something he hadn't experienced in a long time. Genuine curiosity. You're asking me to kill people who've never thrown a punch, Garou said, testing the words. Executives in suits, accountants, marketing directors. I'm asking you to hunt the real frauds, Butcher countered. The ones who profit from false heroism without ever pretending to be heroes themselves. At least Homelander wears the costume. At least he goes through the motions. But Edgar, the board, they just collect checks while people die from their decisions. Garou walked to the roof's edge, looking down at the city below. 12 stories. People moving like ants, going about their lives, completely unaware that their entire hero infrastructure was rotting from the inside. In my world, I hunted heroes because they were hypocrites. They preached justice while enforcing their own moral code through violence. But here they're not even hypocrites. Huey spoke up from near the door, surprising himself with his own boldness. They're just corporations. They don't pretend to care about right or wrong. It's all quarterly earnings and market share. Which makes them honest in a way, Garou mused. More honest than the heroes, at least. Edgar admitted what the seven are. Products, assets. He didn't try to dress it up. And you're okay with that? Butcher pressed. With a system that manufactures heroes like widgets and discards people like defective inventory? Garou was quiet for a long moment. Behind them, the sun was starting to rise, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Vought Tower caught the light, glass and steel gleaming like a monument to everything he'd spent his evolution fighting against. I didn't come here to fix your world, Garou finally said. I came here by accident, fought your heroes because that's what I do, made my point, proved their frauds. That should have been enough. But it's not, Butcher said quietly. Is it? Because proving their frauds doesn't stop them, doesn't prevent Vought from rebuilding, rebranding, selling the same poison with new packaging. You've seen it already. They're spinning your attack as a PR opportunity. By next week, they'll have new heroes, new merchandise, new lies. Garou's jaw tightened. He'd seen the patterns in his own world. Heroes exposed, temporarily shamed, then returning with better publicists and cleaner images. The cycle never broke because the infrastructure supporting it never changed. Just surface-level accountability followed by business as usual. What exactly are you proposing? Garou asked. Butcher pulled out a tablet, one of Frenchie's custom jobs, encrypted and untraceable. He pulled up files, executive profiles, security details, locations. Vaught's leadership, 12 board members who make every major decision. Remove them, and the entire corporation fractures. No unified strategy, no coordinated response, internal power struggles that tear the company apart from inside. You've really thought this through. I've had years to plan it, just never had the capability to execute. Butcher met Garou's eyes. You do? Garou took the tablet, scrolling through profiles. Stan Edgar, CEO, former military to intelligence, responsible for Vought's expansion into 37 countries. Margaret Chen, PR director, architect of the Seven's public image. Patterson, CFO, financial wizard who'd buried evidence of hundreds of hero-related casualties in accounting loopholes. 12 names, 12 lives, 12 people who'd never faced real consequences for the suffering their decisions caused. You understand what you're asking, Garou said, still scrolling. This isn't hunting heroes. This is assassination, premeditated, cold. It's evolution, Butcher said. The system's diseased. The people running it are the infection. You cut out cancer, you don't negotiate with it. Garou looked up from the tablet. And after? When Vought collapses and there's a power vacuum? You think that makes things better. Someone else will fill the void. Another corporation, another government agency, another group of people who see heroes as profit centers. Maybe, Butcher admitted, but they'll know what happens when someone actually fights back. When someone holds them accountable. Fear's a powerful teacher. Fear doesn't change systems, it just makes them more careful. Garou handed back the tablet. But you're right about one thing. These people are frauds. Bigger frauds than the heroes they create. At least Homelander has the excuse of being a weapon pointed by others. These executives, they're the ones doing the pointing. So help us remove them. Garou turned away, looking back at the sunrise, at the city waking up to another day of lies and manufactured heroism. He thought about Saitama, about their final battle, about the lesson he'd learned in defeat. Strength without purpose was just destruction, but purpose without action was cowardice. I'll think about it, Garou said finally. How? Long? As long as it takes. He glanced back at Butcher. You're not the only one who can track people. I know where you live. When I decide, you'll know. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no. Butcher nodded slowly, recognizing the dismissal. Don't think too long. Vought's already adapting. Every day we wait, they get stronger. He and Huey left, footsteps echoing down the stairwell, leaving Garou alone on the roof with his thoughts and a city full of false heroes waiting to be judged. 3 days after the Vought Tower incident, the world learned what corporate desperation looked like when it wore a cape. Garou sat in the same condemned factory, watching news feeds on a stolen tablet, and felt his decision crystallize into certainty. Vought hadn't learned, hadn't adapted. They doubled down. The press conference was pure theater. Stan Edgar stood at a podium bearing the Vought logo, flanked by what remained of the Seven. Homelander, with his ribs taped beneath the costume, Starlight looking genuinely uncomfortable. Black Noir, silent as always. Behind them, 3 new faces in pristine costumes that still had the factory crease marks. In response to recent events, Edgar was saying, his voice carrying that boardroom confidence that made lies sound like quarterly projections. Vought International is proud to announce the Next Generation Initiative. These enhanced heroes represent the evolution of what heroism means in an uncertain world. The camera panned to the new recruits, a woman whose skin rippled with metallic scales. Damascus, they called her. A man wreathed in controlled plasma, Flashpoint, and standing in the center, taller than Homelander, broader than Black Noir, was a figure in dark armor that looked more military than superhero. Sentinel, Edgar announced, designed specifically to counter emerging superhuman threats. Faster, stronger, and equipped with technology that adapts to any opponent's fighting style. Garou watched the footage and recognized the pattern immediately. They'd built a weapon. Not a hero, not even pretending anymore. This was a response to him, a multi-billion-dollar middle finger wrapped in Kevlar and corporate branding. Vought remains committed to public safety, Edgar continued, and we will not allow terrorists, regardless of their abilities, to threaten American citizens or undermine the heroes who protect them. Terrorists. That's what they were calling him now. Not a critic. Not an opposing force. A terrorist. Which meant every resource, every weapon, every dirty trick in Vaught's arsenal was now justified, legal, profitable. Garou stood, feeling his body respond to the surge of intent. His markings, those evolutionary tattoos that appeared when he pushed past his limits, began crawling across his skin like living ink. 3 days of rest had let his power settle, stabilize, evolve further. He was stronger now than when he'd fought Homelander, strong enough that the air around him shimmered with displaced energy. The hunt wasn't over. It had just entered its final phase. Vought Tower, 10:47 p.m. The 98th floor conference room where the board met was in session again. Emergency strategic planning, damage control, profit projections for the Next Generation Initiative. 12 people in expensive suits, drinking expensive coffee, making expensive decisions about lives they'd never have to account for. The windows exploded inward, not shattered, exploded. Garou came through the reinforced glass, moving at speeds that made A-Train look pedestrian. Glass shards suspended in the air around him like a crystal halo. He landed in the center of the conference table, scattering laptops and coffee cups and quarterly reports, and the board members barely had time to process the intrusion before he was moving again. Stan Edgar reached for the panic button under the table. Garou's hand closed over his wrist, not breaking, just holding, and the message was clear. Whatever happened next would happen before help arrived. "You called me a terrorist," Garou said conversationally, scanning the faces around the table. Margaret Chen was already reaching for her phone. Patterson had gone pale, probably calculating the insurance implications. "That's interesting, because I've killed exactly 0 civilians. Your heroes, on the other hand." He pulled up the files on Edgar's laptop, the ones Butcher had mentioned, the buried evidence of collateral damage. Flight 37, where Homelander had caused the crash while trying to play hero. The apartment complex in Detroit that Black Noir had leveled chasing a drug dealer. 43 deaths in one incident, 79 in another. Numbers that had been explained away as unfortunate accidents or terrorist actions or anything except what they were. Consequences of false heroes playing at justice. 162 civilian deaths in the last 5 years, Garou read aloud. That you couldn't hide or spin or blame on someone else. The real numbers probably triple that, but I'm the terrorist. "What do you want?" Edgar asked, voice steady despite the grip on his wrist. "Money? Influence? A seat at the table?" Garou laughed, genuine, bewildered amusement at how thoroughly Edgar had missed the point. You really think everyone operates on your logic? That everything's for sale if the price is right? He released Edgar's wrist, stepping back to the center of the table. I want you to understand something fundamental. I don't negotiate with frauds. I remove them. The conference room door burst open. Sentinel entered, flanked by Damascus and Flashpoint. Vought's billion-dollar response to an unstoppable threat. The armor was impressive up close, bristling with weapons systems and sensor arrays that were already analyzing Garou's biological signatures. "Stand down." Sentinel's voice came through electronic modulation, stripped of humanity, reduced to tactical assessment. "You are surrounded. Surrender or face lethal force." Garou looked at the new heroes, at their untested confidence and factory-fresh costumes, and felt something shift inside him. Not anger, not bloodlust, something colder. They'd created weapons specifically to fight him, had manufactured more false heroes to prop up their failing mythology. The cycle would never end unless someone broke it permanently. His body began to change, not dramatically, no transformation sequence or power-up glow, just a subtle shift in his cellular structure. His musculature compressing and reinforcing, his nervous system accelerating to process information at speeds that would make conventional perception useless. This was the state he'd reached against Saitama, the monster god form that had let him stand against absolute power. The air pressure in the conference room dropped. Several board members gasped as their ears popped. The windows that hadn't already been destroyed cracked from the energy displacement. "You built these heroes in 3 days," Garou said, his voice carrying harmonic overtones now, like multiple frequencies speaking simultaneously. "Rushed them through testing, skipped the proper conditioning, threw them at me because you were desperate. That's the fundamental flaw in your system. You treat heroes like products on an assembly line. Quantity over quality. Speed to market over actual capability." Sentinel fired first. Shoulder-mounted missiles that could level a building. Damascus launched forward, her metallic skin designed to withstand nuclear temperatures. Flashpoint's plasma coils lit up, charging an attack that could vaporize steel. Garou moved through their assault like water through a sieve. The missiles redirected mid-flight, impacting each other in a cascade of controlled detonations that left the heroes untouched, but thoroughly disoriented. Damascus's charge met empty air as Garou sidestepped with millimeters to spare. Flashpoint's plasma blast carved a hole through the exterior wall, but Garou was already inside his guard, hand on the hero's chest, applying precise pressure to the solar plexus that shut down his powers like flipping a switch. "See the difference?" Garou addressed the board members, who watched in horror as their billion-dollar investments got systematically dismantled. "I evolved through 10,000 fights, learned from every failure, adapted to every challenge. Your heroes? They got their powers from a vial and 6 weeks of media training." Sentinel's armor systems recalculated, adapting exactly as advertised, but adaptation took time and Garou operated on time scales measured in fractions of seconds. His strikes found every structural weakness in the armor: joints, sensor clusters, power conduits, until Sentinel was fighting blind and increasingly immobile. Damascus tried again, desperation overriding training. Garou caught her fist mid-swing and felt the metallic reinforcement in her bones. Compound V enhancement, rush job. Your skeletal structure's already showing microfractures from supporting the new density. He released her gently. You've got maybe 6 months before your own powers start killing you. But Vought didn't tell you that, did they? He let her collapse. Not from injury, but from the weight of understanding what she'd become. The board members were trapped now. Exits blocked by unconscious heroes, windows gone, nowhere to run that Garou couldn't reach in the time it took to draw breath. This is the choice, Garou said, his power settling back to baseline. The monster god form receding now that the threat was neutralized. You can continue manufacturing heroes, keep selling false hope and corporate violence, keep profiting from fear while actual people suffer the consequences. He looked at each of them in turn. Or you can stop. Permanently. The choice lasted exactly 4 seconds before Stan Edgar made his play. His hand moved toward something under the table. Not a panic button this time. Something else. Garou's enhanced perception caught the motion, tracked the neural impulses firing in Edgar's brain, predicted the outcome before the action completed. A needle. Compound V. The emergency dose every board member kept within reach. The last resort transformation that could turn a middle-aged executive into something powerful enough to matter. Garou's hand closed around Edgar's throat before the needle cleared his jacket. "Don't," Garou said quietly. The needle clattered to the conference table. "You just die faster." But the attempt had answered the question. They weren't going to stop. Couldn't stop. The system was built on momentum, on quarterly growth expectations and shareholder value, and market dominance that required constant expansion. Asking Vought to stop making heroes was like asking a shark to stop swimming. It was against their fundamental nature. "You're going to kill us," Edgar said. Not a question. Statement of fact delivered with the same calm he'd used to discuss revenue projections. "No." Garou released him, stepped back. "I'm going to give you the same choice you gave everyone else. Adapt or become obsolete." He moved the shattered windows, glass crunching under his boots, and looked out at Manhattan sprawling below. Millions of people down there, going about their lives, most of them still believing in the heroes they'd been sold. The broadcast had planted doubt, but doubt alone didn't dismantle systems. It just made people uncomfortable until they found new lies to believe. "Here's what happens next," Garou said, not turning around. "You're going to dissolve Vaught's superhero division. Every hero gets released from their contracts. Every Compound V facility gets shut down. You go back to pharmaceutical research or whatever legitimate business you can salvage." "That's corporate suicide," Patterson spoke up, having finally found his voice. "Vought without heroes is just another medical company. Our stock would... Your stock is already cratering. You're hemorrhaging investors by the hour. The Pentagon canceled 3 major contracts this afternoon." Garou glanced back. "You're dying anyway. I'm offering you the chance to control how." Margaret Chen's hands were shaking. "And if we refuse? Then I keep hunting." Garou's voice carried absolute certainty. "Not just your heroes. You, the people who make the decisions. I'll dismantle your infrastructure one executive at a time until there's nothing left but rubble and liability lawsuits. You won't be martyrs. You'll be cautionary tales." The silence stretched. Outside, sirens wailed. Police, fire, probably every emergency service in the city converging on Vought Tower. Help was coming, but everyone in that conference room understood it would arrive too late to matter. "You can't maintain this," Edgar said, finally. One man against an entire corporate structure, against government contracts and international interests and the hundreds of people whose jobs depend on Vought's hero division. You'll make enemies faster than you can fight them. I already have enemies. They just wear better suits than I expected. Garou turned fully now, and his expression carried something that might have been sadness if there was any hope left in it. I came from a world where heroes were hypocrites. At least they believed their own bullshit. But you don't even have that excuse. You know exactly what you are, what you've built, what it costs. He walked toward the conference table, past the unconscious forms of Sentinel and the others, stopping directly in front of Edgar. "So here's my final offer. You announce the dissolution tomorrow. Public statement, no spin, no corporate double talk, just honesty for once in your miserable careers. In exchange, I leave. Go back to wherever I came from and let you clean up your own mess." "And if we lie?" Edgar asked. "Announce the dissolution, then quietly rebuild under a subsidiary or shell company. Then I come back." Garou's markings flickered across his skin briefly, a reminder of what he could become. "And next time, I won't offer choices." He moved toward the shattered windows. The night air rushed in, carrying the sounds of the city below, traffic, voices, the ambient noise of millions of lives intersecting. Somewhere down there, Butcher was probably watching this on whatever hacked feeds Frenchie had accessed, wondering if Garou would actually go through with the assassination plan. But standing here, surrounded by terrified executives who'd built an empire on manufactured heroism, Garou realized something. Killing them wouldn't fix anything. It would just create a power vacuum that someone equally corrupt would fill. The system was bigger than any individual, more resilient than any single attack could damage. Real change required something different, not destruction, evolution. "You've got 24 hours, Garou said from the window's edge. "After that, the hunting resumes, and I promise you, there's nowhere you can hide that I won't find you." He jumped. 98 floors straight down, wind screaming past, the ground rushing up with mathematical certainty. At the last possible second, Garou twisted, distributed the impact force through his entire body, and landed in a crouch that cratered the sidewalk, but left him completely unharmed. People screamed. Cameras captured everything, and Garou walked away through the chaos, leaving Vought Tower behind like a monument to everything he'd spent his existence fighting against. 3 blocks away, in an unmarked van packed with surveillance equipment, Butcher watched the feed and felt something he hadn't experienced in years. Not hope. Hope was for optimists and idiots, but maybe possibility. The sense that change wasn't just a fantasy spoken in safe houses and plotted in encrypted files. "He did it," Huey whispered, staring at the screen showing executives slowly emerging from the conference room, looking like survivors of a natural disaster. "He actually scared them into consideration." "Consideration's not action," MM cautioned. But even he sounded less certain than usual. Frenchie pulled up Vaught's stock ticker, $31 a share and still dropping. Emergency board meetings being called across 3 continents. Investors demanding explanations. The carefully constructed empire showing its first real structural cracks. 24 hours, Butcher said quietly. "Then we see if corporate self-preservation beats pride." The answer came 18 hours later. Stan Edgar stood at another podium, different location, emergency press conference, every major news outlet broadcasting live. He looked older somehow, tired, like a man who'd stared at mortality and decided the view wasn't worth the cost. Effective immediately, Edgar read from a prepared statement, his voice stripped of its usual confidence. Vought International is suspending all superhero-related operations. The 7 will be disbanded. All active hero contracts are terminated. Our Compound Phi research divisions will be transitioned to civilian medical applications under international oversight. The press corps erupted. Questions fired like bullets. Edgar ignored them all, continuing mechanically through his statement. We recognize that our pursuit of profit has compromised our ethical obligations, that we've created heroes as products rather than protecting people as priorities. This ends now. In the condemned factory, Garou watched the broadcast and felt the tension in his body finally release. It wasn't complete victory. Vought would find other ways to profit, other systems to exploit. But for now, for this moment, the cycle had been broken. His dimensional sense, that ability he developed fighting through realities, was tingling. The tear that had brought him here was still open, still accessible. He could feel the pull of his home universe, of the world where Saitama waited and monsters roamed and heroes were at least honest in their hypocrisy. Time to leave. But first, one final message. Garou pulled out the stolen tablet, accessed Vought's now unsecured network, and typed, "To whoever rebuilds this, and someone will, remember what happened when you treated heroes as products instead of principles. Remember that evolution doesn't care about your profit margins. And remember that somewhere in some universe, there's someone watching who won't let you forget. You deserved better gods than the ones you created. Maybe now you'll build them." He sent the message, then crushed the tablet in his hand. The dimensional tear shimmered at the edge of his perception, waiting. Garou took one last look at the city, at the Vought Tower with its shattered windows, at the people below starting to question everything they'd been told, at a world that might actually change now that someone had forced it to look at itself honestly. Then he stepped through reality's membrane and disappeared, leaving behind only one truth carved in blood and broken cameras. Heroes were never real. They were just monsters with better PR. The scar Garou left on the boy's universe didn't heal. It adapted. Vought's dissolution sent shockwaves through global markets. Copycat corporations tried filling the void, but none lasted. The public had seen behind the curtain, learned the cost of manufactured heroism. When new heroes emerged, they faced scrutiny. Vought never allowed. Accountability replaced worship. Homelander disappeared 3 weeks after the tower incident. Some said witness protection. Others claimed suicide. Butcher knew better. The man was simply broken, stripped of the mythology that had sustained him. A god reduced to flesh realized he'd never been divine. Butcher's crew disbanded too. Their war was over, won by an outsider who understood what they'd been screaming into the void for years. Heroes were only as real as the system supporting them. Remove the infrastructure, and capes became costumes. In another universe, Garou walked familiar streets, his dimensional journey already fading like a fever dream. But sometimes, when he saw heroes posturing for cameras, he'd remember a world where they'd at least been honest about their corruption. And somewhere between dimensions, In the quantum space where realities touched, his message remained. You deserve better gods than the ones you created. The multiverse never sleeps. More truths await their reckoning.